everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. It's the Monday after the game, August 16th. You know, like I said, I was at the game, and I'm trying to reflect on it and not dwell on it. I think it's the best way. I'm going to reflect on it and not dwell on it because of the fact that it was an ugly game, and I have some concerns about the depth of the Giants roster, and we're going to get into that. And I have some concerns that the Jets were a laughing stock last year, and we were 6-10, and we are supposed to be playoff bound and contenders. And for some unknown reason, the Jets' depth and their third and fourth stringers seem a lot better than ours. Is it a blip? Is it an anomaly? Is it just a passing thing? I don't know. We got to talk about that. But the first thing I did want to talk about this morning was all the fanboys' favorite guy, David Sills. Victor Cruz 2.0. He's going to come in and revolutionize the Giants. He had a good game. He got that 137-yard reception, but everyone overlooks the 2 catches for 12 yards and the fact that he had the drop, and then they're going to point out to the interference penalty in the end zone, and I'm going to point out to the fact that he was going up against third, fourth stringers and grocery baggers. But that's okay. That's okay, and I've said this before. If you are a greater talent than the players that are on the field above you, that should show. But we've had David Sills before. We've had him twice, really, in the near future, and actually a subscriber reminded me of Corey Washington. So is David Sills going to be a Victor Cruz or a Corey Washington? And I can already see the fanboys going on the typewriter. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything. No, I'm going back to Giant history, guys. Because I know Giant history. I understand Giant history. I get football. Corey Washington. Who remembers Corey Washington? Who remembers him? Raise your hand. Because you're probably not going to remember back from 2014. He went to North Charleston High School. He went to Newberry College. He went undrafted and signed by the Arizona Cardinals on May 12th and then cut on May 27th. Giants claimed him off waivers on the 29th of, I think it was the 29th of May. He was impressive during training camp. He led the team in receiving yards in preseason. He made the team. Then he went on to catch his first career touchdown on November 3rd, I think it was, against the Colts. Played 14th game for the Giants. And then he was released due to an injury. He had an injury settlement. He was released on the 15th, had an injury settlement. Of course, the injury was so bad, he was picked up on October 26th by the Washington Redskins, signed off the practice squad, and then released on November 9th. Then he was signed by the venerable Detroit Lions on November 25th. And then he was released on January 26, 2016. Then he was signed by the Atlanta Falcons on 16 in July, and then released September 3rd, 2016. Then he was signed by the Bills on the October of 2016. And then he was released on May 11th, 2007. Then he was signed by the Chiefs July 31st, 2017. Then he was released August 8th, 2017. Then he was signed by the Dallas Cowboys 2017 and released again August 25th, 2017. His career totals were 5 receptions, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Whoa. And I remember this guy. I remember 2014. I remember how he burned up the league and during preseason. How everyone was like, he's the man. He's the guy. We've found the diamond in the rough. We are so ready to move forward and go forward and prosper. Because of the fact that we had hit gold with Victor Cruz in 2010. Oh, we thought we hit gold in 2010 because he missed most of 2010. He played 3 games, Victor Cruz. It wasn't really back to 2011 that we hit gold with Victor Cruz. And that's what people need to remember. Victor Cruz came into the league and showed something for the Giants. He showed something against the Jets, of course, that 31-16 win. He had 6 passes for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a lot more than 3 catches for 47 yards or whatever it is. He finished the preseason that year in 2010 with 297 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, made the roster, played in 3 games, started season, pulled his hamstring, went on injury reserve. And then 2011, when the Giants, when we lost, didn't really lose Steve Smith to free agency. We just didn't want him because of the injury. He began the season as the fourth receiver. Dominic Hickson had to get hurt for him to see a larger role in the win over the Eagles. People forget about that. He finished that game with 3 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the rest is kind of Victor Cruz history. I'll give people time to look it up. 62 Phantom X individual. Go look that up, guys. And see what that's at. I'll give that for the neophytes again, who are going to be like, I have to Google this because he's wrong about something. 62 Phantom X individual. Throwing that out there. That was Victor Cruz, though. Victor Cruz was something special. You saw how special Victor Cruz was during 2 preseasons. And you saw what he could do. You had that glimpse. I'm not seeing anything with David Sills that compares him to Victor Cruz. David Sills, if you take a look at him, if you actually take a look at him, okay, he committed in 2014 to West Virginia. That was his commitment date, and we all kind of know. I don't know if we all kind of know it. Now that I think about it, I don't know if we all kind of know it. He was a quarterback. He was a quarterback. He was an early enrollee, actually, at West Virginia in 15. He wanted to participate in spring practice. He went and he was battling the venerable Skylar Howard and William Crush Jr. for the starting quarterback job, and Howard eventually won it. Sills earned some playing time that year as a wide receiver, impressed coaches, and with his performance on the scout team. He made his collegiate debut against the Baylor Bears for 2 receptions, 64 yards, and a 35-yard touchdown. He had the game-winning reception in 16 in the Cactus Bowl against Arizona. He split time in 16 between wide receiver and quarterback. And then when several quarterbacks got ahead of him, and Willie Greer came over from Florida, he wanted to play quarterback, so he left school. He transferred to El Camino College. Spent 7 months there. And then he went back to West Virginia and played wide receiver. He had a good 2 years at West Virginia at a wide receiver. He did. He really did. But people seem to forget some things about the West Virginia team and Willie Greer. There was multiple receivers on that team. People forget Gary Jennings, who had 2,000-yard seasons along with David Sills, who never cracked 1,000 yards in college. And Gary Jennings was drafted 4th overall to the Seattle Seahawks. David Sills went undrafted. Now, of course, everyone can tell you that, the NFL scouts miss immense talent, and they do. They really do. But you're still looking at a guy that has barely been playing the position for 3-4 years. He was clocked to 40, anywhere between 4.57 and 4.6. Not blazing speed. He's going to be a possession guy if he's going to be anything. And to sit there and praise this guy for his training camp, if he's had a great training camp, that's wonderful. But you got to see him against first teamers. You can't see him against 3rd, 4th stringers and grocery baggers. And people are going to be like, grocery baggers, that's such a derogatory term. I use a grocery bagger term because that's what Kurt Warner was. He was a grocery bagger after he got cut by the Packers and before he went on to play arena football. He bagged groceries. That's why I say grocery baggers, because that's what they are. So before we anoint him anything, and you also have to remember the Big 12 was a passing league. But we're just throwing, these are all the things you need to look at before you make that anointment that he is the Victor Cruz, that he is 62 Phantom X individual. And that's what I'm going to call Cruz from now on. I'm going to leave the Cruz name out. So guys just need to take a chill pill, relax, have a beer. Don't cost nothing. I always tell people, what movie is that from? I did want to talk briefly about the Giants' depth. If you take a look at the Giants situation and the product we put on the field on Saturday, I have slight concerns of the over-evaluation of our talent. And I have slight concerns about the over-evaluation of our talent at the 3rd and 4th level. I've said this before. The Jets were a joke last year. They were a mockery. The Giants were supposed to be up. They were supposed to have an upswing. The Giants' depth should be better all around on this roster than the Jets. And it was a sloppy game. It was a terrible game. It was a terrible game. I don't know how it was to watch on TV because I was there, but it was a terrible game to be at. There were just so many bad plays. And I feel bad for Darius Williams because, like I said, the kid had 8 tackles, but they picked on him religiously. And I know people are going to point out, wow, they were playing the zone and this and that. No, some of the times they weren't playing zone, guys. You can't see what they're playing completely on TV. You have to be at the game to see what the defensive or offensive alignments are and what the coverage is. I will say this, he made the tackles, and that's what you need to do. He didn't get burned. He had the recovery. So it's not as bad as his performance was not as bad as people made it out on Twitter. It's just he's a 6th round pick. And this is why I talk about there is a difference between practice reps and game reps. Game time, there's never a substitution for game time reps. There's never is. Because practice reps, you know what? It's practice. We're talking about practice. It's just practice. You're practicing the same nuances over and over again. So yes, you are going to look good at times against the same guys you've been going up against. You need to put your talent against different individuals from different organizations who do not know the plays that are being called, who do not know what we're working on. And you knew they were going to pick on the rookie. You knew. I mean, that would be dumb not to. But I just get concerned about the depth. And I think we'll do a video more about the depth this afternoon. Still at the in-laws. Still hiding in the basement. You're lucky I don't do 47 videos a day. But again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could please subscribe. Ring the bell thing, that means that'd be awesome.